Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast. Joining me today on Taking Care of Business is Young Lee, who is Canada market lead for GoDaddy. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well,
Happy to
let's
be
talk. Let's talk a little bit about some interesting stuff that's going on out there with side hustles. And I noticed some data that GoDaddy had that 48% of Canadian hustlers have a social media presence, but only 36% use their performance data to adjust their business strategy. Let's talk
Mhm.
about those numbers for a second. First, the 48%. Is that a good number? I would have thought that maybe more would
Yeah,
have a social media presence.
yeah. I think it's a healthy number. I think it depends on the generation of small business or side hustlers who are active in the market today. I mean, certainly not everyone is very active on social media. A lot of businesses have different avenues of reaching their audience, but the 50, almost 50%, the 48% is a pretty healthy number, and I expect it to continue growing.
Okay, and what about that other figure, 36% use, only 36% use the data to adjust their business strategy. Why is that? Why is it important to use that data?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was surprised to see that number be lower than I expected. If you reverse it, it's about like 64% are not using it, right?
Yeah.
And the opposite is using it. But with that, it's important to use it, and I think that is what will give a lot of small business owners more of a strategic advantage. If you know that the data is there, it's also available to you so that you can adjust your business strategy.
Mm.
And I'll give you some examples why that data is really important, right? It can help you learn so much about what your customers or the audience that you're targeting may be saying about your products, what demands that they might be making in some of the services and products that they wish to see. So it allows you as a business owner to pivot some of your strategies, pivot some of perhaps your pricing, some of the messaging that you're putting into your brand as you grow it. But a lot of people, I think, might be intimidated by data, or they feel that in the past, when they look at data, it can feel so daunting. But the good news is that like at GoDaddy, we make it a lot easier now, more than ever, for you to access the data, have it be more consumable, so that you can make some actionable decisions on how to adjust your business, and so in hopes to make it grow. So I encourage people to look at the data and the tools that are available to you, because it can teach you and teach you a lot, and of course, improve your business goals.
Now, do those tools include like demographics, like what the where people are geographically, where people are, gender wise, all that type of stuff?
Yeah, there's a whole slew of tools out in the marketplace. Like if you were to search and do a Google search on like give me the best social media tools out there, the answer is yes. You can get that media data about your audience. But I think what is really great about on the data front, or if you choose to advertise your products on a social media platform, is that yes, you can target and get access to that data of your addressable audience, right? Specifically to of narrowing down in a very specific demographic or geo of a market that you might be interested. That is certainly possible. So yeah, I encourage people to look at the data and all the advertising options that social media platforms offer you today.
Okay, let's talk about social media in general and why is that important for businesses and people
Yeah,
inside hustles and just businesses in general.
for sure. I think the greatest thing, the gift of social media, I always like to look at it, is that it is the greatest gift from a small business perspective. If you think about a long time ago when social media did not exist, um, it wasn't media wasn't accessible, right, to the average person, or media wasn't. It was a big giant advertisement, billboards and TV channels that was not really accessible in terms of affordability. So social media, because it's here to stay, I don't think it's going anywhere. It can be a very powerful marketing tool that is accessible, especially if you're starting out and you have a very a small budget, It can be a low cost entryway, an effective way to reach hundreds, if not thousands of your targeted audience, in which you want to grow your brand with. And so, with having almost 50% of Canadian side hustles that are GoDaddy survey that actually do have a social media presence, that can assure you that the community is there, and that people intentionally want to reach that community. And more importantly, it's easy to learn if you can get the hang of it. Mind you, there's a lot of different social media platforms today, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, even Pinterest. There's a lot of people who are on those platforms who are trying to reach those audiences. But if you invest the time and you start creating the content and you start understanding that engagement you're having with that community, you can really reach that audience. And again, like I was saying before, learn a lot from that so that you can pivot on different ways to help them connect with your brand. So that data is available to you, and certainly it's important for social media users to embrace this platform and all the tools that wasn't around maybe like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about side hustles.
Mhm.
Do you see this increasing? Just the idea that people are doing side hustles, and why?
Well, I think there's a couple of factors. With our study, I mean, certainly we've gotten some insight as to what's igniting this growth and side hustles and starting that project. So, for example, in our GoDaddy study, we found that over one third, about 37%, started actually their side hustles because they were into like their hobby or their passion, and it wasn't necessarily about making it profitable, but as they started doing this on the side, there's nothing better than not feeling that you're working after maybe working,
Yeah.
especially if it's something fun and personal for you. But they're finding ways to monetize it. And I think another key factor with today's technology, it is so much easier than ever to get started. I think that is also the gift that a lot of Canadians feel more confident now, right? They can go and turn on their online presence very easily with tools that they can use. A great example is that GoDaddy have this great product called GoDaddy Website Builder. It was designed specifically for someone, a novice who, has no design skills or web development skills in mind. I think my mother even tried it, and she she certainly could do a website. Then I know anyone can do a website, but they were designed to be easy to use, and so Canadians can feel more confident growing their business or starting that idea or igniting that idea online. And of course, I think the third challenge that we're all feeling as Canadians is that the cost of living has increased with our economy. Of course, those interest rates are not helping, but I think with the Canadians, feeling this type of pressure, the resiliency that you're seeing of them, just offsetting some multiple streams of income have become super popular. And I think all those factors combined, we're definitely seeing and understanding the surge in side hustles and new businesses kind of creating and starting on the side.
And another little data point here: 72%,
Yeah.
according to your survey, hope to turn their side hustle into their primary business. It's a
Yeah.
great incubator, I guess, right, for stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the motivation behind it is, I like to look back and think the pandemic, although it was very isolating for many people, I think a lot of people post-pandemic has realized, what do they want to do in this lifetime that is going to fuel their passion, and especially on kind of managing your own schedule, working the way you want to work. I think that was very opening to a lot of Canadians. And so it's fantastic to see that is a trend that is kind of growing, and how much it fuels our economy. So it's wonderful to witness that happening.
Okay, let's talk a little bit, Young, about the websites in general,
Sure.
and how important is it for a business of any size to have a website and that's functioning, easily navigable? How important is that?
Yeah, it's more important than one might realize. And I'll give you a great example. I think some of the stats that we've gotten out of the survey, like 48% have a social media presence, for example. you would hope to think that they also have a website as well. And a lot of people who are creating these social profiles might not see that immediate value in a website. But I'll tell you why it's important, because as your business grows, as people try to look for you, perhaps in a Google search, and do those queries, you can be more easily found when you have a website, right? Those queries will pick up your keywords, and anyone who's searching for you in a specific category or location, you're easily more found. Is that right? More foundable, but you can be searched more easily, and I think that is really important for understanding why a website presence is critical. And also too, it's also really important to know that Canadians who are shopping love information. A lot of research has told us that compared to American counterparts, Canadians are most likely to spend more cycles researching, right? We like the information. We like to make our purchasing decisions based on the information we have, so we can
Yeah.
validate a few things. And because of that, a website allows you to host that content, right? You can go deep talking about your products, and perhaps your guarantees, your customer testimonials. There's so many different avenues that you can do with a website. And so it can be a very powerful tool, mixed with a social media presence that kind of connects that and layers that all together for
Yeah.
the person who might be able to find you and be able to trust your brand and make those decisions.
In this day and age, it boggles my mind sometimes when I come across businesses that don't have a website, period. Like, I don't understand.
Yes. Yeah, you go, why don't you have a website? They should have a website. I've asked that same question all the
Well,
time.
you know what? It's interesting you bring that up, right?
Mhm.
Because I think maybe there's a lot of people that are intimidated by, oh, we're going to have a website, right? And but not understanding how easy it can be, I guess.
Yeah, and it's a great point you make, because back to my point earlier about how technology has changed. These website tools today, especially with our product, which is called Website Builder, these templates are already made. You don't really need, gone are the days you don't need to be a designer. You don't need to feel pressure to hire a designer. No knock on designers, they do wonderful wonderful things, but not everyone can afford those services. And
Yeah,
so today you can easily choose, what vertical you're in. Say, for example, you're in the cosmetic industry or in the beauty industry, and choose that template that has been beautifully designed for you, and just plug away your content, choose your colors, put your copy in, and then you're instantly online. And that is amazing that we live in a world today that you can do that and certainly have your online presence on. It's wild, and I love it. I love it.
yeah, excellent. Well, you know what? That's one of the you're preaching to the converted here.
Congrats.
Yeah, because what, I often work with a lot of businesses, and I always say to them, like, your website is your where everything is housed, right? And you use the social media to drive people to your website, right? And it's they work in tandem. They work together.
Yes,
It's like your website's sitting out there on the internet highway, but if people are just going all over the place searching for things, how do they find your website, right? And,
absolutely. It's like a
and
happy marriage, and they complement each other.
yeah,
You
exactly,
need
right?
each
Yeah,
other.
you
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. And one more thing I would like to share as a tip that's also important for Canadians. If you do have a domain, that's the first thing that you want to do when you get your idea started, right? Like, it's like the real estate of internet. You want to
Yeah,
make sure that your brand name that you're thinking of is captured and you secure it. And if you do that, think about getting a .ca domain. That's very important for Canadians, especially if your market is in Canada and that your buyers are in Canada. If you have a .ca domain as well as perhaps a .com or a different extension, then it serves you even better, because Canadians will trust other brands that are known as Canadian, being as an identifier that, hey, this is a Canadian business. Supporting local, and
yeah.
knowing that you probably ship within Canada, which is really nice. So you can save on shipping fees on where your product's coming from. But I encourage that as well, to look for a .ca Canadian domain.
All right, wonderful. Thanks very much, Young, for joining us today.
Thank you. And if anyone needs help or has any questions about how GoDaddy helped, can please visit our website at godaddy.ca. Tons of blogs and articles to help you out. And you can always talk to our friendly guides that are available 24/7 to talk to you for any questions you might have.
All right, excellent. Thank you. And that was Young Lee, who is Canada market lead for GoDaddy. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast, Taking Care of Business Today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.